I'm going to start.
What Sparta gotta do? What?
Hey, it's your boy, Japanese Tutor, back at it again with another video. And guess what we're doing today? More Stonewall Dutches. Yep, all the Stonewall Dutch. We're going to learn how to do this. We're going to learn how to win with the Stonewall Dutch. We're going to get right into the lesson. But right before you do, subscribe, hit that notify bell, and get your boy. Thank you, Maxwell. If you see right over here, we got the chess, we got the JT chess logo right here, the Japanese tutor. Um, Link is going to be down below. It's some merch for you guys. If you wear the shirt, you're going to perform about 150 FIDE points stronger. Now, if you get both the shirt and the sweater, that's about another 100. So you can play 250 points stronger just by getting the shirt and the sweater. Definitely true. It's backed by scientific data that I can't show you at this time. Next, all right, we're gonna go right into the games. Let's just get our analysis board up. Bam. Okay, so this is a game between Soberano and Mr. Byrne. The game is gonna be down in the description. So we're gonna go over this side. So let's flip the board. And this is game 11 now. So c4, f5. I could not find any earlier games with this person, Soberano, facing the Dutch. So he's never faced a Dutch before 2006. So d4, f5, knight f3, knight f6, g3, e6, bishop g2, d5, castles, bishop d6, c4, and after they play c4, and only when they play c4, you play c6. b3, and on b3, we know that this bishop wants to try to trade off so that they can get this e5 square. I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over again until it gets cemented in your head, and we know that that bishop is going to go there when they play b3. We're going to get it stuck in our minds. Queen e7, knight e5, probably the best reply. Castles, and bishop e2. This is generally considered white's main line. Therefore, it's interesting to note that that we didn't play this move on his 4 games. So Vane Wiley did not play this move against his 4 games against Mosienko in County Mansik 2005. So that game I'm also going to link down below. Instead, he preferred knight d2. So instead of playing this bishop, he preferred playing knight d2 here, going for the UE setup, where you play this knight on f3 and then this knight back, and you get all the control over the e5 square. That's white's main plan. All right, and so we're going to go over b6. After bishop b2, b6, c captures d5, e captures d5. We already know that we had to capture with this pawn. Now, if we capture with this pawn, now it's kind of harsh because now knight c4 is extremely strong, and we get into some trouble. Now we've seen lines like this. If you guys remember the last game where this happened, and the recommendation was we do want to play this bishop now to f4 now that the bishop is not here, but we are going to do the skewer, and after the skewer, then now we can play bishop c1 and then go there, because if they go back, now our bishop is here, now we have an extra move. But the better continuation is actually to play here, and then after they commit with maybe a5 or another move, then we play bishop c1, and then a3 is a possibility as well. So it's a little nuance that we learned from last game. So let's take with the e pawn instead. And yeah, let's go right into it. This capture is much more enterprising than c captures d5, and we know not to do that. Uh, Now the real question is Black able to activate his pieces and use his advanced f pawn in a position in a positive way, or if he has to defend his weaknesses, this can only be determined by concrete analysis. Okay, so we're gonna go right into it. The next move is Queen c2, attacking here and attacking here. Right, they're attacking both of Black's weak points. Bishop. Okay, so if there's a concrete problem with Black's position, this is most likely the move to demonstrate it. White points out that the two weaknesses in Black's position, the f5 pawn and the c6 pawn, they're both weak. It forcing Black to take quite concrete action. Knight d2 instead of queen c2 is considerably weaker because it doesn't immediately put pressure on these two. But it has a practical importance as the position can arise from the move orders with an early knight bd2. But okay, so queen c2, bishop captures e5. This has been Black's choice in 10 out of the 15 games in his database, the author's database, which include 4 by some random grandmaster, but it's not probably the best. Fortunately, Black has several interesting alternatives, and in principle, Black shouldn't be happy to give up this bishop for a knight, but as compensation, his queenside pawns become more mobile. Okay, so d captures e5, knight e4, knight d2. This natural developing move has been the frequent choice in this position, yet it may not be the toughest challenge. They're going to return, and maybe knight c3 um, and bishop a3 might be a little bit better here or here. But okay, knight d2. Um, and they say that knight captures d2. And this is an improvement on the move that they had before, which was c5. Um, and in that game, it continued g4. And it says that Fritz doesn't rank this move very high, but it gives 2 exclamation marks and it's in another book, the Dutch Stonewall. In any case, it's a very interesting move which challenges Black's grip on e4. Okay, so this is supposed to be a little bit better, or at least his variation. So queen captures e2, and White has the only pass pawn on the board. Right? What's a pass pawn? Bing! Yeah, and a potentially deadly dark squared bishop and the bishop pair, and so he's probably fairly happy. However, White's two main assets aren't cooperating very well, as the pass pawn is obstructing the scope of the b2 bishop, right? We can't go past our pawn, so our scope of the bishop is actually blunted by our own piece. So maybe if we can activate an awesome blockade, we'll do fine. Um, Black's plan is to prepare the pawn for c5 by overprotecting d5. Thus, the bishop goes to e6 or b7, and one of the rooks moves to the d file. So the knight here is knight. The move here is knight a6. A knight on the rim is just two moves away from the center. So I've never heard this expression. I've always heard a knight on the rim is dim, or a knight on the rim is grim, meaning that you shouldn't move a knight to the rim. But if you have an idea, then we should go ahead and follow this. So here, from here, we have two moves to center, right? One, two, or just move here and maybe move the bishop here, move the rook here, and then we can push maybe, or we push c5 first. Okay, so okay, we're gonna keep going. The ace on a6, the knight prevents the white's b4 advance and covers c5. But after black has achieved c5, it often retreats to c7 to cover the light squares. Maybe it moves on to e6, blocking the e pawn, controlling the important squares in this dark squares in the center. So from here, it can control all these dark squares, which is really good for us. This maneuver, knight a6, c5, and then to e4, frequently fails because of the pinning on bishop a3, but it's worth bearing in mind. Right? And it says that instead of this, bishop b7 is slightly less accurate because of b4. And it's a serious obstacle to the c5 idea that we want to play. So just keep that in mind. So knight a6, a4. And this is a logical novelty threatening bishop a3. And there are other moves in this position. You could have played rook ac1, or you can play f3. Rook d8. The rook steps out of the a3 f8 diagonal, and the author said he didn't quite trust the black's compensation after the pawn sacrifice. So instead of playing this move, you maybe bishop e6 with the pawn sacrifice, bishop a3, c5, bishop takes, and rook fd8. He said he didn't really trust that. Black can put his rook in the center and double on the d file, but most likely his initiative will run out. So it's worth noting, but he says it's not that good. So on rook d8, just overprotecting here. Rook fd1. They say that a5 is very interesting as well, immediately putting black's queenside under pressure, and then bishop e6. And this is how we kind of want to organize our pieces. Just they're all protecting each other. They're all going for one goal. And the bishop also points to this square eventually and supports a possible queenside pawn expansion. Hey, Google Junior, welcome back. Okay, so now he plays bishop a3, c5, queen d3, knight c7. So now everything seems kind of normal here. I think Black's has a small space advantage, except if he maybe plays here, but that's really committing because now this square is very weak. So I think it's even. For me, it's about even. So a5. Oh wait, sorry, e3. They say that this is a mistake. Where this is where the fun ends for white in this game. a5 is definitely better, but black is quite solid after he plays b5. So they said that a5 is better, but he said he's quite solid after b5. And then b4, c4, followed by knight a6. In order to hassle b4 and to protect c5, black has conceded the d4 square, but he's not doing so badly on the rest of the important dark squares. The a pawn makes sense on a7 where it controls b6, and other considerations are rook ac8 and rook ab8 in this position. Well, not in this one, but move 19. But let's go back. So here, and he played e3, and he said a5 immediately. And this is a little bit better for black, just slightly better. Let's see. And the knight is on c7 is doing a wonderful job protecting the light squares while the a3 bishop is pointing at a solid rock. This gives black the opportunity for slowly developing an initiative on the king side. Rook d2, g5. Our normal attack is to play g5. Queen e2. Okay, king h8. At this point, the computers are in total disagreement about the evaluations as well as move suggestions. So these are one of these positions where it really takes strategy, and sometimes computers aren't really too good at that. Sometimes. Uh, so rook a d1, rook g8. Putting my rooks over here. Now we're, maybe we're gonna have some stuff over here. I'm gonna have some fun. Uh, so rook g8, rook d3, protecting this pawn. Rook g6, threatening maybe a double. Rook c1, king g7. Whoa, I see. Queen c2. And then we're going to play rook a7. This is so interesting. I would have never thought of that move. This is a clever defensive move. It stops white's tricks based on playing b4 or bishop captures c5. And the rook is one move further away from the attack on the king side. But by calming things down on the queen side, black actually gains a lot of time for kingside play. So we're taking the prophylactic approach, saying, hey, we're going to stop his play, and then we'll go on and play our stuff. So rook d2, h5, bishop f1. Maneuvering the bishop away from the long diagonal may actually be a mistake. The king loses a defender, and white gives up pressure against the d5 pawn. Queen f7. The queen the queen keeps an eye on d5, f5, and also h5. Bishop e2, rook h6, bishop b2, saying, hey, I'm pointing at a solid rock. Let me get over here to protect my pawns. King g8. This is a prophylaxis against tricks from the b2 bishop, and in preparation for the transfer of the major pieces along black's second rank. Rushing things gives white counterplay. So here we're just saying, hey, we're just gonna develop all our pieces, get all of our pieces into good positions, and then and only then will I play. And that's what you guys also should try to do in your opening. Say, hey, I don't want you to do too many things. So I'm gonna stop what you're doing, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Rook f1, rook a8, f4. White gets tired of waiting. He has achieved very little since his last pawn move, e3. g4, king f2, h4, rook g1, knight a6. Apparently heading for b4. Oops, b4. Bishop c3, h captures g3 check, h captures g3. c4. With this critical decision, the game enters a more tactical phase. The knight on the rim will be soon on e4, attacking everybody. Very interesting. B captures c4. The c pawn becomes very powerful after bishop d4 instead. Um, Followed by, and then knight b4, followed by whatever they're going to play to rook c8. All right, so c4 takes on c4. B captures on c4. Knight c5. King e1, not allowing the checks to happen, not allowing this to happen, and all that. Rook d4. Oh wait, so king e1, knight e4, rook d4, rook h2. C captures d5, bishop captures, bishop b2, bishop b6. Okay, and white could be threatening rook captures, queen captures, and bishop c4 in some positions. So you got to be careful. So maybe just best is prophylaxis, saying, "Hey, I don't want you to do anything here." So then they play after bishop e6 rook captures e4, rook c8. Not taking immediately. I guess this is pin, right? So it does make sense. Then we can get another piece into the game. That's really clever. Queen d2, f captures e4, rook f1, queen d7. So I guess now it's like really just time to. I mean, the rook on the seventh is doing its work. I might get a really strong bishop at one point. Okay. So black is an exchange up, so it's time to start exchanging down to an easily one ending. Captures, captures. We're attacking this pawn, so they got to be careful. Rook f2. Rook captures f2. Captures c2. Bishop d4. b5. King e1. Right? You can't really take us take and we win a piece. King e1. B captures a4, and we're gonna get another queen. This position is completely resignable, but as this was an important team match, the Olympic final, which Norway won that year, so I guess in 2006, uh, they decided to hide the loss, applying the dreaded dead man's defense, dragging out time for another 6 months. All right, Bishop D1. So I'm going to show you guys how this ended. C7, Bishop B2. Oh, sorry, Rook D7, Rook C7, Rook King D1. Wait, what's happening here? Oh, King D1, Rook C7. Bishop B2, King F7, King D2, King G6, Bishop A3, saying these pawns aren't going to go anywhere. Bishop A3, Bishop E6, blocking this pawn and protecting all the light squares. Then B5, Bishop B5, attacking this pawn. After Bishop B5, we're going to play Bishop B3, protecting the pawn. Bishop B3, Bishop D6, C2 check, King E1, King F5, stopping any really advances. So after King F5, Bishop D7 check, Bishop E6, Bishop captures a4. Bam. And then after rook to a2, bishop d1, a4, a4, bishop captures a4, and takes because we're winning. So I mean, and this just you don't need any more comments. This is winnable by itself. You're up a piece. This is easily winning. We're gonna go ahead and pick up this pawn, and it's gonna be easy pickings. We always have extra tempos of the bishop. We now move on to oh, so they're gonna move on to a more order finesse for white, which generally forces the same kind of pawn structure. So we always try to finesse. Hola, ¿cómo estás, amigo? Hola, amigo, ¿estás? ¿Hablas español? Sí, hablo español. I do speak some of the español. But that's it for today's lesson. Um, this game had a lot of detail in it, so we're only going to cover one game. And I want you guys, if you do not understand some of the stuff that I said, please review it. It really helps you understand it better. And once you know it, it's there forever. Nobody can take that away from you. And then you can play it under pressure. So that's the best thing. Okay. Thank you so much. I've gotten so much love on the YouTube. It's insane. Love you guys right back. Japanese Tutor out.